I'm going to show you how to use a handler in Schedule 1. So this is the most complicated of all the employees by far. So the handler's job is two things. They either package your ingredients or they move things around, which is a requirement for the other ones to function correctly. So the botanist will actually put stuff away if the pots are set correctly, but then nothing will happen with it afterwards without a handler. Also, chemists can do stuff, but they can't load stations up without a handler. So handler is pretty much critical. So what you need is the clipboard. You get this after getting any employee. You go to them and you go to your handler and you manage the handler. So obviously you have to assign a bed to them and pay them. But then you pick where their assigned stations are. So, you'll go in here, assign stations, and they can do the packaging stations. But then the bigger thing you're probably here for, which is that you need to set their routes. Okay, so down here you can add new. I usually just go ahead and open all 5 of them because I usually max out my handlers to try to min-max things. But what you'll do is you'll pick a route. So say from, and it says none. You click the from none. And then you go around and you pick whatever it is. So say this shelf. Say all my say that all my plants over here, they're all going to get unloaded onto this shelf. So I expect my buds are going to be here, right? Well, in that case, I would pick that. So just to show it again, I click that and then click on the location I want him to go grab things from, and I want him to take it somewhere. So this to section or row or column, you click the none for that one. And so now I'm picking from here, where do I want him to go? So say I want him to take it to a mixing station. I want to, have him go there. So now what will happen is now that I've set that up, he will, whenever that thing has any kind of thing that can go from that large storage rack to a mixing station, he'll do it. Now, like if I put soil on there, for example, he's not going to move it because you can't put soil on a mixing station. So he'll just ignore it. But if there's bud on there or like Viagra or iodine or one of those things, something that can go on a mixing station, meth, whatever, he will then carry it over to the mixing station. And you can do this for multiple things. So say from there's the bud, and say over on this shelf I have Viagra. So you click that one and also put it on the mixing station. So now whenever there's Viagra here, he'll take it here if it's not already full because you can only put 20 at a time on here. But if there's nothing here, he'll go and grab the Viagra or gasoline or whatever he's going to mix from there, bring it to the mixing station. And if there happens to be bud here and there's no bud over here, he'll grab the bud and then put it over here until there's 20 or until there's none left over here. And that will work for pretty much everything. Now, some situations he doesn't need to be used. So like the mixing station, the chemist actually takes the ingredients away from them once they're mixed. So at the mixing station, it has its own destination. And you can set that, and the handler won't do that. The chemist will. When the thing's mixed, the chemist will come over and grab the thing and then take it to his destination. It works the same way for the pots. The pots have a destination, and the botanist will take, when the plant is harvested, the botanist will take it to his destination. But the handler's for like, okay, I need to move from a shelf to there, or for packaging, for example, I would have to set him up to take it from the shelf to the packaging. Then from the packaging, though, the packaging has its own destination. So I don't need to set it up to go from the packaging to a shelf. That's built into the packaging station. So I don't need to use one of his routes for that, okay? And that's how it works for like everything. If you have a drying rack, for example, it has a destination. Anything that has a destination like this, whatever employee is supposed to be using it, they'll put it away. So you don't have to worry. You don't have to waste a route on something like that. Now, there's one issue right now on launch that I have is the chemistry station to work with the chemist, right? So the handler has to load up the chemistry station, and the chemist has to use it. One issue though is if you have all these ingredients on the same shelf, okay. If you have like say you have like 7, or say you have like 5 different pseudos or whatever, if you end up running out of one of these, the handler won't just go over here and be like, oh well, we got 1 pseudo and we got 1 alcohol or whatever it was, and we're missing the 3rd one, and then they just ignore it. It doesn't work that way. Instead, what they'll do is they'll just grab random ingredients and stuff it in. So if I have, 2 different pseudos on here, and I'm out of phosphorus, then the idiot handler will just stuff on 2 different pseudos into those slots if that's the only thing available. They'll have it like this. And so you got to keep an eye on them with stupid stuff like that. It'll back up your automations. That's why I don't even use them for meth because of that problem specifically, but you'll have to keep an eye on that. But hopefully I answered your question. I'll just make a video on how to assign handlers, and I just wanted to cover all the ins and outs and little details and issues you might run into. So hopefully it helps you guys out. Now you know how to assign handlers and routes in Schedule 1.